Hello everybody. Oh, let's try and get this in there so as we can see what we're doing. Right, camera's running low on battery. This is about the 10th go of doing this bloody video. Fixing a broken harmonica reed. Well, it's a lot easier than trying to film it because I've got no edit facilities, so I'm trying to rush all this in and get it in with the 10 minutes, and it keeps taking about 20. I could do a couple of harps in the time it's taken to film this. What do you need? Some tools. And as I'm English, cup of tea and a roll up. Where's it gone? There it is there. Right. I ain't got time for a lot of nonsense, so here we go. Ordinary screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver. Fancy named reed adjustment tool, which in fact is just a piece of metal with a slot cut in it. Another screwdriver, couple of files, compass, piece of metal with a hole drilled in it. Where's the end with the hole drilled in? There it is. Centre punch, 10BA tap, a little bit of sharpening stone if you've got one. 10BA screws, 10BA washers if you want them. 1.4 and 1.8mm drill bits. Donor replay. Okay, you've got a harp with a broken reed, a reed that won't play. What we do, this piece of metal, it's actually the joining bit on a door handle in a domestic inter-room door with a hole drilled in the end. Got a hole drilled in the end, so as when you put your, pretend this is the rivet plate, the reed plate that's got the rivet, that's got the reed gone. You can drop the head of the reed into the hole, get your centre pot, tuck the clear end of the reed, the rivet, out it comes with your reed. If that was the reed that's gone, throw it away because you don't want it lying around and get it mixed up with your donor reed. Right, one assumes you've got a box of old clunkers, harps that have blown out at some time. That's my box over there at the end of the keyboard. You need a reed. Well, let's say for argument's sake we're going to do this two drawer reed. Say this is the one that's gone. Right, let's assume that's an A reed. You go to the website for Coast to Coast Music, you can print off all the charts for the note layouts for Richter tuned major diatonic harmonicas. So let's say that's an A. We need to replace an A reed, an A2 drawer. So we look on our chart and we find a 2-drawer reed that's A, but you can't, you haven't got one. If you can find one, you're lucky. So you need a reed near to it. Now this is what we use the compass for. With this compass we can check the size of the reed we want. Okay, now you take your cover plates off your old clunker reeds and you go through with the compass until you find one that's the same size or a little bit bigger. If it's too big it doesn't matter because you can clip the end off the reed with a pair of scissors or a pair of clippers and then file it to size. Don't cut it too short. You know, you can always take a bit of metal off, you've got a job to add it on. I tend to go for a reed, if I can't find the exact one, that's of a lower pitch than the one I require. And the reason for my thinking behind that is, let's say we're going to tune this reed here. To raise the pitch we file the free end, to lower the pitch you file the back end nearest the rivet. I tend to look for a reed, so if I'm looking for an A, I'll be looking, I can't find one, I want an A or an A flat or a G. Don't want to go much lower because, you know, to raise them up a tone, that's quite a bit of metal you're going to take off. The reason I want to raise the tuning up is if I file this end, if I've got a reed that's a higher tuning and I want to lower it, this is the fulcrum, this is where the reed bends from, it vibrates from as you're playing. Logic tells me if I remove metal from that end, I'm weakening the reed, which will make it fail earlier. Okay, you've selected a reed. You know it's pretty near to the tuning. So what you then do is this is our donor reed. This is the new reed we're going to put in from an old harp. Where the rivet was, you drill that out with a 1.8mm drill bit. And what I do to hold the reed steady when I'm drilling it is I get the old reed plate, the reeds facing uppermost, so I've got a nice that thing, and hold it down like that, and I can drill that that hole out to 1.8 mil, and the reed won't move. I mean, brass is very soft, it's not difficult to drill through. So into the reed you drill a 1.8 mil hole. Let's assume now that this is the plate we're going to put the reed into. Where the rivet hole is there on the reed plate, you drill that out with a 1.4 mil drill. 1.4. Drill that out at 1.4. You take your 10 BA tap, put it into that hole, run it through, screw it through, and it will cut a thread in there for you. Again, it's very easy to work on the brass. It's quite soft, it's not difficult to do. Okay, you now have your reed drilled, and you've got your reed plate drilled with a thread in it. Put them together and put a screw through it. Now the important thing is that this reed moves freely in the slot. Now what you've done is you've drilled a 1.8 mil hole through there. That is so you've got a little bit of movement. When you put this reed onto the plate, you can move it very, very slightly, you know, only a couple of, might only be a thou or 2 thou, backwards, forwards, side to side. So that when you fix this reed down, it moves freely in the slot. Now the reason I don't like using a washer, the plate I'm going to show you I have done has got washers on it, but I found it much quicker and easier not to use a washer, because then while you're tightening the screw up, you can use your reed alignment tool, or as I call it, a bit of metal with a slot cut in it, to hold the reed steady while you do the screw up. When you've done your final tightening of the screw, again make sure that it moves freely through that reed slot. It must move freely. If it catches anywhere, it won't play properly. This is where this little bit of stone comes in. If I've been filing across that reed to remove metal to raise the tuning, I can use this, it's very, very fine, to clean the little burrs of metal off down the side, because you'd be amazed the tolerances are so fine that a tiny little bit of metal will stop that reed moving freely. Okay, you've got the reed fixed to the plate, it's moving freely to the slot. I tend to put both plates back on the harmonica, just drop a couple of plate holding screws in there, and then I hold the outer plates on with my fingers, because I find it very difficult to get the single notes to sound clearly without the covers on there. I tune using this Behringer V-amp module because that's got a tuner in it. But any tuner you've got, you know, any guitar tuner will do it, chromatic tuner, plug it in, and you've got your tuning chart. You've got that from Coast to Coast Music off their website, and if you're patient, careful, you will repair your harmonica. The problems I've always had is damaging the reed heel when trying to rivet them, and I thought about using these tiny little screws, and I contacted Dave Payne of Elk River Harmonicas after watching a couple of his videos on working on harmonicas, and he very kindly took the time and trouble to write back to me and say yeah, he thought it would work, and without his advice and encouragement I don't think I'd have ever gone down the road of doing my own harps. I tried several times and always messed them up, but thanks to Dave. And the most important piece of advice he gave me was, you know, when you're working on the internals of a harmonica, less is more. If you're, you know, tuning, finding the reeds, whatever you're doing, just do a little bit at a time. Don't rush it, and you will get there. I'll try and do a follow-up video of this to show you what these ones I've done play like, and then I can have a rant about the manufacturers. You know, with the likes of Adam Gusso out there showing you how to play the things, and people like Dave Payne showing you how to maintain them, harmonicas are good fun. I'm going to stop now because I don't want this to bloody overrun again, and I'll try and follow up and show you what they sound like playing. Cheers everybody.